So now basically we have the topic of percentages. The first thing you should understand is what do we mean by percentage? So if you have a number in the form of 7%, so this sign symbol over here means 7 out of 100. So this actually means that 7 out of 100. Similarly, 15%. So the sign over here means 15 over 100. So you can convert it into decimal as well. We can even write this because this is dividing by 100. That means 1 and 2. 0.07. So 7% and 0.07 are the same thing. Similarly, 15% means 15 out of 100. So if I write it in this form, 0.15 in decimals, 0.15 and 15% are exactly the same values. Now, in the first example, we are asked to change the following into decimal and fractions in its lowest terms. So let's do it for 25% first. So 25%, now because we have the percent sign, that means 25 over 100. Now, if I convert it into decimal, that means 0.25. And if I want to convert it into fraction in its lowest term, so this already is in the form of fraction. 25 over 100 is already in a fractional form, but we have to convert it into lowest terms, which means we need to simplify it. So 25 ones are 25 fours are. So 1 over 4, this would be the simplest form over here. The next one is 37.5. So again, we'll first convert it into decimals. So 37.5% means upon 100. Now, because we have 2 zeros, so 2 decimal places there. So this would be 0.375. And if we solve it, so 37.5 over 100, and if we simplify it to its simplest form, it would become, so this would become 3 over 8. Now, next you have changed the following decimals into percentage. So this is in the form of decimal and we need to convert it into a percentage. So 0.25 multiplied by 100. So if you multiply it by 100 and also divide this number by 100, it will convert it into a percentage. So when you're multiplying it by 100, that means the decimals would shift over here. 25 over 100, and you can write this in the form of 25%. So whenever you want to convert not only decimals, but any number into basically a percentage, you need to multiply and divide it by 100. Usually we do not show this division of 100. We usually skip this step and we just show multiplication of 100 to make it simple. So 1.65, if I want to convert it into a percentage, I can simply just multiply it by 100, which would form 165%. However, technically what you're doing is you're multiplying it by 100 and you're dividing it by 100 as well. Therefore, you have the percentage sign over here. Now, moving ahead. Okay, so now we're supposed to change the following fractions into percentage. Now to solve this, like we were converting decimals into percentage, we'll do the same thing. So we're going to multiply and divide this by 100, but we won't solve for this 100, we'll just solve for the numerator one. So over here, 4 ones are 25 is 100, and then 3 multiplied by 25 would give you 75 over 100, which you can write as 75%. Or if you find it easier, you can convert this fraction first into a decimal. So if you just use your calculator and you do 3 divided by 4, you would get 0.75. So now it's converted into a decimal and you can simply do this. This would become 75 over 100, which is 75%. Similarly, because this is a mixed number, you should first convert it into a fraction. So 8 2s is 16, and then plus 3 would give you 19 over 8. You can first convert it into a decimal. So 19 divided by 8 gives you 19 divided by 8, 2.375, 2.375. And you can now do this. So this would become 237.5%. Now, these are some practice questions. So the first question says, in a class of 100 students, 13 were absent. Okay, so let me put the annotation. What percentage of students were absent? So if you want to know the percentage of students that were absent, that means now 13 were absent out of 100. That means 13% were absent. What percentage of students were present? Now you need to understand over here a very important concept, that the whole is always equal to 100%. It means that if 13 students were absent, the number of students that were present would be 100 minus 13. So this is the sum. The sum is 100 over here. And if you're saying that 13 were absent, the number of students that were present would be 100 minus 13, which means 87 are present, which means 87% are present. So whenever you have one number, so over here, basically 100%, the total represents the number of absent plus the present students. And we're saying that the absent students are 13%. So what are the number of present students? So if you shift this to the other side, 100% minus 13% would give you the percentage of present students, which are 87%. You can do it in this way, or you can look at the total number, that it is 100, and if 13 are absent, that means 87 are present. So that makes it 87%. Now let's do another question. Now in this question, it says, in a class of 40% of the pupils are girls, what fraction of the pupils are boys? Now again, in a class, so let's assume that in the class, all of the students would represent 100%, right? The total class. And this comprises of girls and boys. Now we're saying that 40% of the pupils are girls, and we do not know the pupils that are boys. So 100% minus 40% would give you the boys amount, which is 60%. So 60% boys plus 40% girls combines and makes the whole 100% possible. Now percentage as a quantity. It means we're going to express percentage as a quantity of another number. So the first example over here is express 36% of rupees 45. Basically, we're asking what is 36% of 45 over here, and we need to express the answer in fraction and then in decimal form as well. So of actually means multiply. So over here, what we're doing is 36% multiplied by 45, which means 36 over 100 multiplied by 45, which gives you 16.2. And we're also supposed to do it using the decimal form. So one way is using the percentage and the other is decimal. So for decimal, again, 36% times 45. So if we use the decimal method, that means we've converted into decimal 0.36 multiplied by 45. This would still give you the same answer of 16.2. Now, the next question is a bit different. It asks you what amount has its 40% equal to 120. So what amount has its 40%? Now the question is that there is some amount which we do not know. So we'll call it X. So what amount has its 40% equal to 120? This is what the question is asking. You do not know the amount on which if you apply 40%, your answer will be equal to 120. So we need to find this X over here. Now this is dividing over here, it will multiply on the other side. So 120 multiplied by 100 and this 40 will go into division. 0 and 0 will get cancelled out, 4 ones are, 4 threes are, so X is coming 300. This means 40% of 300 will give you 120. So you can even check this. So if you do this calculation, 40% of 300, your answer should come equal to 120. Similarly, another question we have over here is, what amount has its 36% equal to 450? So again, this is a similar question. So what amount has its 36% equal to 450? We can solve it in the same way. X multiplied by 36 over 100 is equals to 450. This will divide on the other side. So 450 multiplied by 100 divided by 36. So this will give you 1250. Now let's do some practice questions. Okay, so the first question says that the income of a family is 18,000 a month. Each month, 75% of the income is spent. What amount does the family save each month? Now, the total income is 18,000. So this is your total amount. 18,000. Of this, 75% of the income is spent. So some of this amount is being spent and obviously the remaining amount is being saved. Now this is telling you over here that 75% of the income is spent, 75%. I always told you that the sum, the whole always forms 100%. That means that the saved amount will be 25% to make it a complete 100%. And we need to find what amount is this saved each month. So the amount that is going to save will be 25 over 100 multiplied by 18,000. So this will give you 4,500. See, the amount that I wanted to find, I kept it in the numerator. So this was the amount I wanted to find, and this was the amount that I had. I had the 100% amount. So this is what was given to me in the question. And again, the value that was given to me is coming in the denominator. So one way of doing this question is in this way. The other way is that you know that the income is 18,000. And they have told you that 75% of the income is spent. So that means 75% of this amount is spent. So you can first calculate that amount that is being spent. So 18,000 multiplied by 75%. So if we do this calculation, 75% times, it means this is the amount that is being spent. Now this is the total income, 18,000. Of this, 13,500 is being spent. So the amount that is being saved, the leftover would be 4,500. This amount is being saved. So there are two ways of doing it, depending which one would you find easier. Now the next question is, a student got 35 marks out of 50 in English and 64 marks out of 80 in mathematics. In which subject is performance better? So for this, you know that in English they have 35 over 50, whereas in mathematics 64 out of 80. Now you can see that the denominators are different, so comparison is not possible. So we can make the denominator equal to 100 so that we can compare, which means converting it into a percentage. So if we convert both of them into percentage, I'm going to convert both of them into percentages. So 35 divided by 50, an easier way to always convert it into decimals. 35 divided by 50 gives you 0.7 multiplied by 100. So this is 70 over 100, or you can write it in the form of 70%. And if you do it for the other one, 64 divided by 80 gives you 0.8. So this gives you 80 over 100, which is equal to 80%. So you can now see which performance was better. So the performance was better in mathematics because it has a higher percentage. Okay, so the next topic is increment and discount. Now, increment and discount is calculated on the cost price. If you look at the definition, increase or increment is the price of an article. Something is added to the price. The increment is a percentage of the original price. Similarly, when the price of an article is decreased, it means something is taken off the price. Price reduction is called a discount. The discount is a percentage of the original price. Now, increment would mean, let's say, you were selling something for 120 and now you decided to sell it for 140. That shows an increment. The price has increased. Similarly, if you were selling something for 100, but now you have decided to sell it for 80, then in that case, you're selling it at a discount. So the price has decreased. Now, how do we calculate this percentage increase or decrease? For this, the formula is, okay. So basically, whatever is your increment or deduction, whatever it is going to come in the numerator, and whatever is the original price will always come in the denominator and multiply it by 100. This would give you the increment or discount percentage. And this says that the price of shirt increased from 400 to 450. Okay, so 400 to 450 means, so what is the increment over here? The increment is of 50, simply 450 minus 400. And what is the original? So the price increased from 400 to 450. That means that the original over here is 400. And you can multiply this by 100 to get the percentage increase. So the answer would be 0 and 0 would get cancelled off, again 0 and 0. So the answer is 12.5% over here. Another way of writing this formula, if this is still not that clear for you, is that we always take P1, which is the new price, minus the old price, which you denote by P0, divided by, again, the old price. This is a complete formula. Now over here, P1, so the new price was 450. The old price was 400 divided by the old price. This would give you 50 over 400 multiplied by 100, which would give you 12.5%. Now let's do another question. So the marked price of a cement bag is 225. So this is the original price over here. So this is your P0. If the discount of 12% is allowed, what should be its sales price? So the percentage is always applied on the original price on the P0. So given that you are provided the percentage, you can use this to find out the sale price. So if you take 225 and multiply it by 12%, now it is very important for you to note over here that I have taken this 225 over here because this is the original price. The formula can only be used if the original price is provided to you, only and only then. If the selling price is provided to you, then you cannot use this formula like this. So 225 multiplied by 12% would give you 27. So 27 is the discount that is being allowed. So that means 225 will be reduced by 27 to get the new price, which is 198. Okay, you can even use this formula over here to calculate it, but it would be a longer procedure, but it would be more clear to you. So over here you have the increase or decrease. So over here it's going to be a discount. So basically you will have the discount and you need the original price in the denominator. Multiplied by 100 gives you the discount percentage. So this is the information that you have over here. So the discount is 12%, so we can just write 0.12 on this side. The marked price, so this is the original price, is 225, and we do not know what the discount over here is. Okay, and when you're using this formula, you need to be careful that if you're multiplying it by 100 over here, then you should use 12% over here. However, if you're writing it in decimals over here, they do not use multiply over 100 over here. So since I am writing it in percentage, so I will not multiply it by 100. So this is something technical that you need to remember. And this 225 will go and multiply over there. So the discount would be 12% times 225, which like earlier came 27. And so you have the discount amount once again, and then you just need to subtract to get your selling price. So now this is the last part of this chapter, which is your profit and loss percent. This is very similar to the previous concept of increment and discount that you have studied. So profit and loss. So first thing is, how do we calculate profit or loss? Selling price minus your cost price should give you a profit. Now you will get a profit when the selling price is greater than the cost price, which means, for example, you sold something for 1,000 and you had bought that thing for 900. This gives you a profit of 100. So you will get a positive answer over here, a profit when your selling price is greater than your cost price, when your selling price is greater than your cost price. However, if your selling price is less than your cost price, then in that case, you will get a negative amount, which is going to signify a loss. For example, if the selling price is 800 and you had purchased that thing for, let's say, 1,000. So you had purchased it for 1,000 and you sold it for 800. This gives you a negative 200 answer. And the negative over here is important because it is telling you that you have made a loss, whereas a positive tells you that you have made a profit. Now the questions pertaining to this type would come in three forms. So let me just clear all of the drawings. The first form will be to find profit or loss percent when profit or loss is given. This is usually the easiest form of question. So the profit or loss can be easily calculated and you simply need to calculate the percentage. So these are three questions pertaining to this domain. Then the second is to find selling price when the cost price and profit or loss is given. This one is also simple because usually the cost price is given to you and you can apply the profit and loss percentage very easily. And we'll do a practice question for this as well. The third type which most of you find the most confusing, is to find the cost price when the selling price and profit or loss percentage is given. Now, in this question, you need to remember that the percentage can only be applied to the cost price. So if you need to find the cost price and the selling price is given to you, then you cannot apply the percentage directly. So let's go through the example so that this becomes clear to you. So I need more space. Okay, so manufacturer's TV set got the cost of 13,400 for each TV set. They sold it to the wholesalers at the price. So first thing is, should be off. We need to calculate the profit or loss. So selling price minus your cost price will tell you whether you have made a profit or a loss. So the selling price over here is 16,200 minus the cost price 13,400 will give you a positive amount. That means you've made a profit, and if we subtract it, we get 16,200 minus 13,400, 2,800. So this is the amount of profit that you have made. Now you need to convert it into a percentage. So how do we convert it into a percentage? Profit percentage is the profit or loss that you have made, again divided by the original. And the original over here means the cost price. So this means 2,800. So the cost price is 13,400, and you will multiply it by 100 to convert this into a percentage. So this is 20.89%. Let's go on to the next question now. Okay, so this one says a man purchased a new furniture for 4,000 and after using it for 3 years sold it for 4,100. Find his loss percent. Let me just see if the values are correct. Yeah, so this over here is actually 41,400. Okay. So now again, first thing is you need to see that the selling price and the cost price both is given to you, and the question is asking for the loss percent. So for this, you need to calculate the amount of loss. So the selling price minus the cost price will tell you your profit or loss. Over here, you sold it for 41,400. So this is your selling price and the cost price. So you bought it at 45,000. So this gives you a negative 41,400. $3,600. So this is the loss that you have made, 3,600. Now find his loss percent. So for this, again, the loss divided by the cost price multiplied by 100. You would always have the cost price in the denominator. So over here, the loss is 3,600. The cost price was 45,000 multiplied by 100. So 3,600. This gives you 8%. Let's do one more question. Okay, so this one over here says A second-hand car was purchased for 270,000. So it was purchased for this much and was repaired for 10,000, 5,000, and 25,000 at three different occasions. After then, he sold it for 350,000 minus profit percent. So first you need to calculate your total cost. The total cost would include the purchase price plus all of the repairs that you have basically done. That is also part of your cost. So you purchased it for 270,000 and then you did repairs of 10,000, 5,000 and 25,000. So if we add all of this, you get 310,000. This is the total cost. And then you sold it for 3. So again, selling price minus your cost price. So this profit or loss. So the selling price over here is 350,000 minus cost price of 310,000. So you made a profit of 40,000 and you need to convert it into a percentage as well. So profit over cost multiplied by 100. 40,000 divided by cost is 310,123 multiplied by 100. The answer over here is 12.9%. Okay, so the second scenario that usually you would find in questions is where you would be asked to find the selling price when the cost price and the profit or loss percentage is given as in this question. So an item's cost price was 600. So the cost price is provided to you over here that it is 600 and was sold at a profit of 15%. The profit percentage is provided to you. And you need to find the selling price in this scenario over here. So for this question, you can multiply this by the cost price. So this is very important. Only when the cost price is provided to you, you can simply multiply 15% by the 600 to get the amount of profit. Or you can use the formula method and actually plug in the values in the formula. So the formula for profit percentage is the profit over the cost price. Now over here, the profit percentage is 15. So you have 0.15 and profit, we do not know what that amount is, but we know that the cost price is 600. Now notice over here that because I did not multiply it by 100, I wrote it in decimals over here. So if you're not going to multiply it by 100, do not write it in percentage over here. 0.15 multiplied by 600 would give you the amount of profit. So 0.15, 90. And you know that selling price minus cost price gives you your profit. So you have the cost price of 600. You know that the profit is 90. Selling price would be, this is minus, this will become positive on the other side, 90 plus 600. So 690 is the selling price over here. Okay, so this can only be done if the cost price is given to you. If you do not have the cost price, do not multiply it like this. In the next questions, we'll see what to do if you do not have the cost price. Okay, so now we have two questions. In this, they are asking you to find the cost price when the selling price and profit or loss percentage is given to you. Now, for these kind of questions, what I would recommend is that you form this equation and you try to plug in the information that you have. So by selling goods for 560, so you can see that over here you have the selling price 560 with a profit of 15%. The profit percentage is 15%. How much did the goods cost him? So the cost price over here is missing. Now, do not multiply this 15 by this 560. That is going to be wrong. The profit percentage can only be multiplied by the cost amount. So how are we going to solve this? For this, what you can do is you can assume the cost to be X. So we'll keep X over here. The selling price, you know that it is 560. So we can plug in 560 over here. Now the profit or loss, you know that 15% of the cost price is the profit. So 15% of the cost price. So of means multiplication. 15% of the cost price is your profit over here, right? Because it says that you have made a profit. So no negative sign over here. Now 560 minus X, this will multiply. So this will become 0.15 X. Now keep the X on one side. So 560 will shift this X to the other side. This will become 0.15 X plus X. Now when you do not have any number with it, you simply plus it. So 1.15 X, 560. Now this is multiplying over here. This would divide on the other side. So 560 divided by 1.15 should give you the amount of X. So let's do this. 560 divided by 1.15. 486.96 is basically the cost price over here. Let's do another question. So by selling a house for 50, again, this is a selling price. So this is the selling price, 500020. Suffered a loss of 8%. Now, because this is a loss, this means that this percentage is a negative. At what price he had to sell the house to get a 15% profit? Sorry, 5% profit. Now, this question has two parts. At what price he had to sell the house to get a profit of 5%? So they're asking you for the selling price that would give him a profit of 5%. But before you can find out this selling price, you first need to find the original cost price, and then you can apply the new percentage over here. So first we'll find the cost price, then we will find the new selling price based on this 5% profit. So selling price minus cost gives you your profit or loss. Selling price over here is 50020. Again, we'll keep the cost as X. And now you have made a loss. So that means negative 0.08 multiplied by your cost. Multiply it. Now this minus X would shift to the other side. It would become a positive X. Now again, when you have nothing, you have 1. So minus 0.08 plus 1 will give you 0.92 X. And you can, this is now multiplying over here, you can divide it by shifting it on the other side. 0.92. So this will become 543,500. So this is your cost price. Now, once you have the cost price, you can apply this new percentage of profit on it to calculate the new amount. So 543,500 multiplied by 5%. Sorry, this is a bit jumbled up. Let me just erase this. Okay. Multiplied by 5% would give you the profit amount of 27175. So this is a profit that you have to keep. Now, selling price minus cost gives you your profit, right? So we do not know the selling price. We know that the cost price is 543,500, and you know that the profit that you will get is 27175. So see, once you have the cost, you can directly apply the percentage. So this means this will shift to the other side, 27175 plus 543,500. So the new selling price is going to be 570,675. And we are done with percentages. In the next video, I'll do some exam practice questions.